Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Mo because the strait is causing some issues.
Hormuz.
Well, the article that actually caught my eye was specifically about Haiti. It caught my eye because many of my ancestors are from Haiti. But since the Strait of Hormuz have been closed, people are mostly talking about gas and oil prices. But one of the things that kind of gets left to the side is actually fertilizer. A lot of fertilizer goes through the strait and it goes to many different communities around the world. And it's causing a problem because the planting season is within these next few months. For most people globally, the planting season is the next few months. And if they can't get that fertilizer, they will not be able to grow sufficient crops to feed their communities. And so it's causing a lot of problems. And they're believing that if this doesn't get straightened out before the planting season is over, it could cause a global famine. And so we can go ahead and play the
You
video, Kim. The
mhm,
video will explain the effects in Haiti as
got
well
it.
as other places.
Yeah, like we were talking earlier, this is a worldwide problem.
Yes.
We're joined now by George Moreira da Silva, Executive Director of the UN's operational arm and head of the UN Task Force on the Strait. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
So, as I mentioned, you are leading this UN task force during what is this volatile moment in the Strait of Hormuz. Where are you most concerned about the ripple effects right now?
We are mostly concerned about the consequences of the disruption on fertilizers. I know that everyone is talking about energy, oil and gas, but the fact that there is so much dependence from so many countries, particularly in Africa and in South Asia, from fertilizers from the Gulf, will very likely trigger a massive food security crisis with devastating consequences on the poor. That's why we can't delay. We must find a solution to unblock the strait. Of course, freedom of navigation is critical. We must have everything going through the strait. But until we get this freedom of navigation, we can't miss the planting season. Planting season is from now until May. If we miss the planting season, the farmers, particularly in Africa, won't have productivity, the prices will go up, and hunger and starvation will be spread around the world.
When you say we have to find a solution, the UN, as I understand it, is trying to create a mechanism for what you call safe, predictable transit through the strait. What does that actually look like right now in practice?
In language that is less technocratic, in practical terms, we need to build confidence and trust to ensure that we can deconflict so that the vessels can cross the strait with no risk. We must monitor and verify to ensure that the cargo that is loaded is fertilizers and related raw materials, and we need to track the vessels and report. This is not rocket science. We have done this in Yemen. We have done this in Gaza. We have done this on the Black Sea Grain Initiative. It's something that my team is already ready to put on the ground. What are we missing? We are missing a political deal.
If access remains constrained, how do you prioritize which countries, which regions get the fertilizer and get the raw materials?
A week ago, the main concern was Sudan, Somalia, Mozambique, Kenya, Sri Lanka, countries that were most dependent from fertilizers from the Gulf. Now we know more. We know that the entire fertilizer market is disrupted, that even the producers of fertilizers in South Africa, in Morocco, in China, in Turkey are being affected because they don't have the raw materials. If you don't get the fertilizers, the productivity goes down. You don't have the ability to put the agriculture functioning properly, and we have massive devastation on hunger and starvation. If we don't get a solution quickly, we'll have 45 million people more forced into food insecurity.
It sounds like we're already at the point at which aid groups cannot compensate now for this disruption.
We have seen this movie, this script, a crisis that starts locally, it becomes regional, and then it's global. I have my team ready. Look, I have identified already the monitors to put on the ground. I have already developed with my team the digital platform to approval of the vessels. I can in 7 days, my team can in 7 days put everything functioning. We just need a political will.
From the humanitarian crisis in Gaza to this crisis now we're talking about connected to the Strait of Hormuz, is the international community moving with enough urgency?
We are living in the worst consequences, in the worst conditions ever since the World War II in terms of conflict. 1/4 of the people in the world live under conflict. When was the last time that we spoke about Afghanistan or Myanmar or Somalia or Sudan or Mali or Haiti or Ukraine? So it's important that we don't jump from one crisis to the other, forgetting the others that were already happening and didn't disappear. So this is a moment where solidarity must be boosted. It's a one planet, one society, and we are all on this together. If we don't find collective solutions, we will all be significantly affected.
When you say you have a team ready to move right now, what really can the UN do absent a deal between the US and Iran and Israel?
We will be condemned to deal with the consequences. If you don't let the UN act now, if you don't let the UN bring the monitors to the Strait of Hormuz to monitor, verify, to deconflict the cargo, the fertilizers, you'll need the UN later to bring the food for the people that are facing starvation and hunger. You'll need UN later to bring the sheltering and the housing and humanitarian need for the people that was put on poverty because of this impasse. So we really need to find a solution now. It's much cheaper, it's better, and it's from a human rights point of view, the right thing to do.
George Moreira da Silva, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I know it was kind of long, but the urgency of the matter you can see.
Yeah.
And it's not that in the end that they would not be able to provide these people with resources and things like that. But then it becomes a much more expensive endeavor. And then you're also talking about there's still going to be shortages of food supplies. And there have been humanitarian aid cut. There's just been so many cuts to these programs that help these people. That's why he's trying to negotiate specifically with the UN, because he's hoping that the UN charter would somehow be able to override all of this that's going on. But unfortunately, there you have it. You have Iran, you have Israel, you have the US. And and I hate to say it, I hate to say it, but it's just this idiot that we have in the White House caused this. All he had to do was say no. Like
Mhm.
every other sitting United States president, all he had to do was say no. First thing he should have done was not tear up that agreement. But secondly, since he did that, he should have stayed with the negotiations. But twice they were negotiating with these people and they bombed them right in the middle of negotiations. So I don't see a way out of this. And I am just so fearful that we're going to see a global famine like we haven't seen in decades because of this.
Trump's weak. He can't not stand up to Bibi. That's point blank. Bibi wants this war. He wants to go and blow up Iran and Lebanon. And just like Gaza, he wants to do a genocide. And the problem is you got Trump going, okay, I'll do it because you're my friend. And it I think it's really out of false pretexts. I get it. Ivanka's married to a Jewish man. Great. She converted. Great. That's her decision. But Netanyahu, whatever, BB,
Netanyahu.
he still has a warrant for his arrest for war crimes. He's been indicted by his own country for corruption. And if that's the reason why Trump agrees with them, then we are in serious trouble.
Trump, just step back. Trump doesn't do anything that doesn't benefit himself
Right.
and his family,
Oh, yeah.
and he has no friends. So for me, it's about the money. It's
Yes.
control. It's about the oil.
Yes.
It's about all of that. He already goes to the, hey, let's go in business together and we'll charge people to come through the strait.
Exactly.
this is his mind and what he thinks and
Mhm,
how it
mhm.
works.
Yeah.
There's always a grift. There's always a money-making scheme.
And the truth of the matter is, Bibi Netanyahu, he obviously doesn't care about a genocide. He's committing a whole genocide in Gaza, and now he's on his way to doing it in Lebanon. So I'm sure that he doesn't care about African nations or, Southeast nations starving. He doesn't care about that. And the problem with Donald Trump and this regime is that they have no foresight. They they don't even have global knowledge of the powder keg that they've set off now. Like them blockading the strait right now.
Yep.
You mess with China's ships and you're asking for World War III. We're no match for China. We're barely a match for Iran.
We don't have enough people to match with China, even if all
Yeah.
of them got one thing. That's the main thing. The other thing is this: it's going to
Picture
come.
too, bro.
It's going to come here to roost. It's coming to America. It's coming to a city near you as well, as far as the food and stuff, because it's not going to be about the growing of it, but we lost a lot of people to pick it. We lost a lot of the fertilizer that we need, the oil that we need to run the trucks and all that stuff. So it's not, we might have it, but can you afford to pick it up and buy it?
Well,
So
here's
I
the
got a
thing.
feeling, go ahead.
This is why people need to really start thinking about the future, the near future, start stocking up on non-perishables, as someone told me they were doing earlier. And you even need to teach yourself how to grow and sustain your own little harvests in your backyards, your patios, things like that. You can grow your own fruits and vegetables and things like that. It's not going to be the same as going to a grocery store, and it's going to you're going to have to put some work in, but it's possible to survive something like that. And I don't think it'll hit as hard in America because we do have other sources that we can get these things from. But I just think globally it's just so it was devastating to me to see this report because it's something that's not in the forefront of our minds. We're all like, oh my gosh, how much it costs to fill up my gas tank, and
Right.
you're thinking about those types of things, but you don't realize the far reach, the consequences globally of these things that they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Well, the
And
global starvation, it might not affect America the way it's going to in other countries,
Mhm.
but when people don't have things like food, they want to migrate. They're going to go somewhere else. And what's happening in Cuba and how it's going to affect Haiti, they're close to us and they will try to come to America. We'll have mass migration happening. And then that makes me think now we have ICE and that they have a huge budget and they're going to be out of control with migrants coming in because we started something we shouldn't have started. And it makes me wonder, what is Trump going to do with that power? Is he gonna how is he gonna take our American rights away from us? How much policing is gonna be on the street? Is he gonna start closing America off, isolating us more? I don't know. It seems like there's gonna be a domino effect,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, possibly World War III.
Yeah, and before the migrations start, in the local communities, there will be an uptick in violence.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
All,
Yeah.
all of that happens, and then when people are so desperate and they
Yeah.
feel like they have no other choice, that's when they
Right.
start trying to migrate,
Yeah.
and things like. But in the local communities, it's just going to cause so much disruption and upheaval and suffering.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely something we have to keep our eye on. Again, great topic, Mo, because media doesn't talk about this,
Nope.
No.
Mm-mm.
you know,
Nope.
which is just a shame, a real shame.